A package in the mail, MSX games from Japan. Collecting without fail, those shoot 'em ups, that's the plan. He doesn't just collect them, he also codes them too. Join us and we'll go on electric adventures with you.
Hey YouTubers, Electric Adventures here with my monthly channel update and vlog for June 2018. Wow, halfway through the year already. Time flies when you're having fun. Normally I'll start off with other pickups. I actually do not have one video game, especially like modern video game. I haven't done a video pickup at all, but I do have some other sort of pickups. Now I think I forgot about this one. I've actually had this one for well over a month. I got my V64 Mini, and I have it inside the house, plugged into a modern TV. I have played it a little bit. I probably put it on a too big a TV to start with, and it doesn't really do it justice. It's actually better playing on a slightly smaller TV, but I actually quite like it. It's quite a nice little unit. Works quite well. Not particularly fussed about the current issues of how hard it is to put other games on it. I mean, you can only play so many games at once. You don't need everything in the universe loaded onto it at a moment's notice. I'm more a person, I like to have the games that I'm focusing on, and if I want some more, well, I'll set it up and rename some titles. It's not really that hard, but they are working on new firmware for it apparently that will make that easier. Not bad, pretty impressed with the unit, but I've had it for a little while, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. Only a couple of days ago, so this is Monday, so on Friday I got my NES Classic Mini. So these are now freely available in stores, no waiting, walk in, grab one. I did actually pre-order one just to make sure this time, because I missed out completely last time. I haven't opened it or used it yet. I'll probably, I may have a play of it later tonight. But it does have quite a good collection of games in it, and I'll probably play the games that are on it until I'm sick of them, and then I'll mod it and I'll change the games on it. I've also got one of the matching second controllers as well, in case we're going to play any two-player. It's in a nice little box. I mean, the one they gave me has a little bit of a squash corner, but I don't really care. It's not a thing to sit up on the shelf and be, "Ooh, look what I have." It's actually more for me to play. So as with the SNES Mini, that has stayed at my holiday home, and I play it when I'm down there. This will probably go to the same place, and maybe even the Commodore 64 Mini. So they're just convenient ways of playing some games that I like when I'm having a relax at my holiday home. I don't get to go away on actual holidays very often. That's why we have a holiday home to do that. So instead it suits our lifestyle. So they're the things. Now also a very late birthday present. I don't really care. It's great when people give you things. When I got the opportunity last month in June to go on pin crawl, I do have a separate video on that, so I'm not going to talk about that. So basically a group of guys up in Launceston, they have a get together once a year, and they go from one place to another, and you play the pinballs at each place and have a little mini tournament. Now this year was I think one of the biggest they've ever hosted. There were 3 different places we went to, and I got to play heaps and heaps of pinballs and had heaps of fun. But just before we left, my mate Aaron, who's on my the Press Play on Tape podcast, which I'm part of, he said, just as we were leaving, here's a belated birthday present for you. And he gave me these 2 figures. So we've got the T-1000 with what was it, hole in the head from Terminator 2, which is awesome, and Biff Tanner from Back to the Future, which is great because I don't actually have any Back to the Future stuff, and actually likewise I don't have any Terminator 2 stuff, and they are 2 of my favourite movies. So I think he got them. We had a local small collector store here, and the guy wasn't really making any money. You know, he wasn't covering his rent and everything like that, so he shut the shop down, and Aaron actually helped him move all the stuff out, and he's now just having a garage sale sort of thing out of his garage each week. So I think Aaron got given these for helping out, and very much appreciated that I got them, because I really don't have a lot of those collector figures. I did have a few Star Wars figures back in the day, but I never got them when I was a kid. They were just more ones that I picked up later, actually around the time when I ran my shop, and then I closed my shop down, and I was going to the market regularly myself every week, and I bought a Darth Vader head full of Star Wars figures at the time. So I've never really had a huge attachment to those sort of figures, but I've always been interested, sort of, you know, it was one of those things that I missed out when I was a kid that I always wanted. So getting the occasional figure like that is always very nice. So very much appreciate that, Aaron. And it was quite a surprise, wasn't expecting it as well. So now I do have another couple of associated pickups for things that I'll be working on this month. So if you haven't noticed lately, I've been into my arcades, so you can see the arcades of Fighter in the background. I've still got Gary's Street Fighter, which is now pretty much completely working. We just need to, you can probably see it in the video down there, the kick panel, all the wood's exposed, and the vinyl down there is all peeling off. Well, to fix that, I've bought some vinyl, and I need to do the same thing. That's not going to be in shot, I don't think. Oh, you can probably just see it. Is my cocktail cabinet. Now I have, for those who observe it, I have completely reorganised that corner behind me, so there will be a new game room tour coming up soon. Once Gary's reorganised his place and we've got the NBA Jam out of the way, I'm going to do a new game room tour. Hopefully I'll get a chance to, I'm going to rebuild the shelves around my TV here too. Once I've reorganised all that and got everything all nice and neat, I'm going to do a new game room tour. But anyway, I got this vinyl, which has the sticky stuff built onto it, so you don't need to use glue, and that should give a very nice finish to the side of the arcade cabinet and bring it back to how it was. And we'll use some on Gary's kickboard there for the NBA Jam as well. And I had one more thing. Oh, the other thing is Gary and Aaron and Damien basically bought out one of the local arcade providers, which is where all of the arcade boards have been coming from that have appeared in my collection lately. But he also got a test set of monitors, one in vertical and horizontal orientation, and they're actual cocktail monitors. And I've had this Tato clean skin cabinet here that I've always wanted to start work on, but I haven't had a monitor for it. So he actually the other day brought me around one of the monitors from that test harness. So it's really good, because the monitor has no screen burn that I can see, and it's definitely working. So I've just got to mount that inside that Tato cabinet, and I can start building it up. And I've got the one behind me set up with Space Pilot at the moment, one of my favourite games. I mean, it's a pirate of Time Pilot. I do have a Time Pilot board as well that I've got to see if I can get working. I would like to have the original. And in the other one, I'm going to put Tutankhamun. But both of them, and the cocktail I've already done, I've completely rewired it, so it's got a jammer harness, and then I use a Konami converter to play Time or Space Pilot at the moment. And that allows me to swap out the boards, because I actually have ended up with quite a few different boards. And I'll make a few you know, custom harnesses to jammer, or get more of the Konami converter boards, so I can easily change the games. And that way you can have a game in there for a period of time, and cocktails are quite easy to change the you know, the current game display underneath the glass, as long as you look after them. So the clean skin Tato, it's obviously it's going to need a bit of work. I've got to build the control panels, and I've got to get a sheet of glass for the top, of course. So a bit to do there, and I'll do videos as I do that. Right, sorry for the slight cut there. A bit of an itchy nose. It's a bit cold outside at the moment. Right, I'd like to know, one of my really good friends on YouTube, I've known him since the start, is Mark Vergeer, and his channel's called LactobacillusPrime. Was talking on one of the topics that's going around at the moment, which is about going through the stage in your collecting where accumulating, continue to accumulate more games that you will of course like to play, but don't necessarily get to play all the time, and the amount of room things take up, and being, I suppose, surrounded and immersed in too much stuff. I suppose all of us go through these different phases of our collecting as we go through, and even myself, I've obviously built up quite a large collection over the last 6-7 years. Is probably the amount of time it's taken to really build this collection. I started off with probably a fairer number of old computers that I had for some time, then got given some Atari games from that I used to play back in the day with my friend, so that friend gave them to me when he left the state, and acquired a few other things, and it just built from there. And the actual act of getting items, collecting items, and I've tried, to play them as I've got them, is an enjoyable experience in itself, and I do enjoy doing that. But it's not a sustainable thing. So even myself, I'll not be able to continue to just get more stuff all the time. Everybody runs out of room, and also your interests wane. I mean, I have very good collections for quite a few of the consoles, but I don't want every game for all of the consoles. I get particular types of games. Obviously lots of shoot 'em ups because I like those. I also like collecting some of the RPGs for the covers and everything, and I used to play lots of RPGs back in the day, but I really struggle to play RPGs in any length of time at the moment. They're always on the list of ones I would really like to play at some stage. And of recent times, I mean, a lot of my I do realise that a lot of the games that I collect for the consoles and even the computers are based on the classic arcades that I used to enjoy back in the day. But I always thought getting arcades was an unattainable thing. But now, since the start of the year, I've been incredibly lucky, mainly due to my friends in the things that they've achieved and some things that have just popped up that I've been lucky enough to get, which is the the cocktail cabinets and things, that I have assembled most of the arcade boards from a lot of the my favourite arcade games back in the day, and have discovered that I really enjoy tinkering and playing with the electronics. I mean, I might never get some of those boards working, but at least I can try, and I enjoy the process of doing it. Will I make a video about every one of those? Well, probably not the detail, but I might when I get something working. Like this month I've got the Space Pilot working perfectly. It's just down to cosmetic things on the cabinet now to finish it off. And I've discovered I really like doing that. And since I've been doing that, I've been less looking to get some more titles to add to the collection for the consoles and the computers. It's given me my interest has changed a little bit. I still like getting the occasional thing, and I will when bargains come up. And also things have changed. The prices have gone up quite dramatically. Here in Australia we've been lucky in most cases. It's been cheap to get things from Japan, but several things have not made that easy anymore. Basically the exchange rate has changed, so it costs more there. Agreements have run out with our postal service, and now the postal prices have about doubled. But the only cheap place to get stuff posted from me at the moment is the UK. But then the exchange rate really hurts even more there. And from the 1st of July, which is the day is the 2nd of July, any purchase under $1,000 we have to pay GST on, which is our almost like our value-added tax equivalent here in Australia. So we have to pay that tax on entry, which is going to make it very difficult. I mean, even though a lot of this stuff is second-hand, how the rules and GST only applies to new items, whether to make it easy for them to process that or just apply it to all things, don't know. And I'm just lucky that I have a lot of particular titles and things like that. I got them when the prices were a lot cheaper, and I could afford them at the time. So yeah, and it's more, answering this question, it's more about that, everybody evolves through different phases of their collecting. And I'm more in I suppose, more into appreciating what I have, exploring the arcades, and of course I will get, I'll get the occasional pickup and things like that, and share it with you guys. But even I have changed. Now, Mark was looking at, maybe he doesn't need physical hardware for all circumstances, because, or he doesn't need different versions of the same system, as an example. He really only probably needs one and things like that. So he's into the consolidation, having things more, ready to play and ease of use sort of things. And his interests have moved on as well, as a lot of us, I suppose, do. So it was an interesting question. So I'll put a link down to his recent video down below. Feel free to discuss and post videos of your own. Now the other thing is no homebrew update for this month, because I quite simply haven't had time. I know in my last month's video I said I probably would soon, because the project I was on is ending. It's still sort of going. It has got a lot easier, especially as each week has gone by, and I have gotten code out and started work on it, but I've got nothing ready to show you guys. But hopefully within a week or so I'll have some really good progress on Sydney Hunter, and then I'll be able to swing back onto my Coleco homebrews and get some of those finished off. I really want to get them finished off because I know how long some of them have been going for, but I'm not exactly doing this for money, I'm doing this for fun, so it has to be, I do it when I get the time, and I do have family and all those sort of responsibilities, so real life comes first. Alright, well, I hope everybody out there in YouTube land has been having a great fun collecting, playing and exploring all of their retro stuff. I'm Electric Adventures, thanks to all my subscribers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.